person.
I can't hear. Two.
That's what I'm saying.
Two. Frank, you turn me up, Frank?
You? I didn't touch nothing.
Two.
Everything should be alright if you got your mic by your mouth.
Everybody trying to be Bobby Brown, man. Two.
45, 47.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, real quick.
We live.
Listen, everyone. Two. Everyone, please. While we're doing the show, can everyone please hold all the comments and side talk later, because the microphones will pick you up. So if you want your business out on the street, keep it to yourself. But we gonna have questions and all that other stuff in a few.
We are live.
We all start. Ready? We good.
We live.
Yeah!
Hola, come on.
Welcome to the Lounge Boys. We do this each and every Sunday, 7 p.m. You know the Lounge Boys. We got the Lounge Boys page, the IG, all the good stuff. Make sure you follow us on all the social media. Today's show is having to deal with mental health. I guess mental health issues in athletes, but I guess that can also spawn into with regular folk like us every day who are not athletes.
They want to know why I'm back, ladies and gentlemen.
And we do have a special guest that's going to be here with us today. Her name is Natasha Carter, and she'll be talking with us today. And yes, we'll have a good conversation and take it there.
We're going to talk about how why Pam crazy.
Nah, we already know why crazy. But look here. Brooke, why are you doing that to your microphone?
I'm trying to fix it. It's fun. So that won't, like, catch when you do the wrong thing.
Got you. So real quick, shout out to our Washington Nationals.
Yeah!
Now,
I would have my Nationals hat on.
it's hilarious. I didn't know there were so many National fans in D.C.
Wait a minute. Time out though. Why y'all keep talking about you ain't know it was this, that, and the other was fans keep rooting for the Nationals, man? What y'all want to do? Keep parading up and down the street on the Nationals fan?
No, but also the way they was on social media, like they've been fans for years.
But y'all from Maryland. Y'all should like Baltimore Ravens, Orioles anyway.
I wasn't talking about myself.
Okay.
I'm talking about all the...
So who do y'all like? Let's ask that while we talking about.
I don't even watch that. This is the first time I've ever watched baseball. This is actually the first time I've ever watched baseball.
So you both have just become Nationals fans?
No, I just gave him a shout out. I didn't say I'm a fan.
I'm a Giants fan. I picked them like 20 years. I just picked them. I don't really watch baseball, but I just pick a team. You know what I'm saying? So that's the team I play.
So I like the Nationals because DC never had their own baseball team when I came up. And I played baseball myself. You know what I'm saying? I played second base, shortstop, third base, right field, center field, left field. I played everything besides catcher, pitcher, and first base. So I played baseball coming up in the city, but we didn't have a real team.
The funny thing about it is, when I purchase hats, I just buy them because of how they look. And I didn't know that one hat that I have is a retro hat.
And you got a Montreal Expos
hat in the
yeah.
house, and people been walking up to me like, "Go Nats," and I'm like, "You should don't say Nats on it. You don't gotta know you on it." But then somebody explained it to me, and I figured it out. So
you got one of the originals.
Yeah. So shout out to them.
He thinks it's original.
Shout out to them. We got to have a parade for something because it don't look like we gonna have a parade for Redskins.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry.
You guys know y'all.
Don't say that.
You know y'all not having no parade, dog.
Not this year.
Not no year.
Next year.
Oh yeah.
We gonna have a parade.
I might be 50 by the time y'all have a parade.
We're gonna have a 4th of July parade. That's about it. I don't think about anything else gonna happen. Oh, and shout out to the Washington Mystics because but they didn't get to have a parade. But
true.
Washington.
Shout out to the Mystics.
So that's two this year.
But it's actually 3.
The Capitals
last year. No, the Capitals wasn't in this year. It was in January, but they had their. It was 2019.
So DC teams is doing something.
So we waiting on the Redskins. We waiting on the Redskins.
No.
We waiting on the Redskins and the Wizards. They next.
No.
I can't even tell you who on the Wizards, but anyways. Another thing real quick, rest in peace to John Witherspoon.
Yeah. My man.
That's all you remember? That's all you remember? He did so much more than just that. That's all you remember.
He say, son. What he say? He say, son. We would have never moved into this neighborhood if we knew that you had the courage to be safe.
But listen.
Now back in my day,
Nah, The funny thing about it is that part and that quote of when he was talking about that.
Yeah.
It's like something that stuck with people. It really is stick with people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was...
Because it was for real.
Yeah, it was for real.
It was actually real because if you think about it, you didn't go get your gun until you got finished putting your dupes up first.
Yeah.
You had to fight first. If you lost that fight, if you got your ass whooped, maybe you could jump by like 3-4 niggas, then you went and got your gun. But I mean, like, it wasn't just...
Just get it in.
The other thing that stuck when they said don't come in for 35, 45 minutes. Everybody did that.
Yeah, everybody done did that. Everybody did that. But see,
all y'all females, don't act like don't act like y'all ain't did it. Don't act like y'all ain't
calling out the funky butts.
But honestly, I appreciated him in Friday, but I appreciated him more in Boomerang. Because what he did was Boomerang. Boy, that mushroom shirt and that mushroom listen, and the fur, when the fur started coming off his white joint, you can make these in the ear. So rest in peace to him. His son was talking the other day, and what was he, 77?
I want to say that he used to frequent the DC area too.
No, he did.
He used to say that they seen him around this area.
Yeah, he did. He performed it. Speaking of that, just real quick, the DC area.
Okay.
I was watching a crazy movie a second ago. Sorry to get off track a little bit.
It's all right, shoot.
But what's his name? What's Pinky's name? Anybody know Pinky's name?
Oh yeah,
Clifton
Fry.
So now let me tell you something real quick. And this is what I want people to do.
We should prank call him.
No. Nah, not tonight. But look, go on to IMDb or just Google him.
Yeah.
And look how many movies that man has been in.
Yes, he
has. Let me tell you something. He is a legend. And I think the thing about it is, like you say, people wait till people die to give them their flowers and do all that stuff. But I'm gonna put some posts up this week about it. That man been in a lot of movies, and not just little movies.
But you know
he been in some big movies.
You know where he from? You know who he get to?
Who?
John Brown.
John, you gotta help me out here.
John Brown from Northeast Michigan Park, the John Brown sportscaster. They all tied in together. That's all family.
Oh, okay. I mean, you say John Brown. Yeah,
that's his name, John Brown.
I know. I'm just saying that's the most generic name. It's a nigga across the street at Popeyes named John Brown working right now. It's a motherfucking party across the street at Popeyes right now.
I got 20 chicken sandwiches.
Listen, I didn't know the chicken sandwich came back out, and I'm sitting there trying to park, and I'm seeing a line down the street, and I'm like,
are y'all gonna move or what?
No, I thought it was something going on, like it was a fight or something going on.
There's something going on. Chicken sandwich.
Shout out to the chicken sandwich, whatever that is.
Shout out to Popeyes. We can get paid for this commercial
but
too.
You know, did it come back today? Today's the first day? Yesterday?
12 o'clock. That's right here.
I'm about to say Popeyes is kind of smart.
They are.
Because they put it out on Sunday, the day Chick-fil-A's closed. and they knew the clock went back an hour. They thought about all this stuff before they made this move, but yeah. So
hold up, I gotta chime in with the clock going back an hour, John.
Yeah. Wow.
So the clock went back an hour. Y'all seen the funny meme? Where the dude was sitting like he had work at midnight, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the clock go back an hour. He's sitting like this, like, I gotta stay in this bitch. I hope I gotta be here 9 hours a night. What do they do about the people who work in the night shift and the time go back?
I never thought about that.
I mean, like, I gotta keep on going. Like, shit, somebody gotta fill this whole. Do the people coming in after me come in an hour early? Or do I just gotta keep sitting here doing what I'm doing?
I never thought about
that. That means I had worked 8 hours, but actually it was like 9
hours.
We'll get a little overtime. Yeah.
And then I give
it might not be overtime.
It might not, because it goes back.
Well, guess what? You should have picked that shit.
That's definitely not.
Hey, hold on, you working at night though?
You should have called out. I'm on at 12:30, buddy. Before the clock.
Before the clock. Them the selfish people, because if dude called me like, look here, man, you know the clock go back an hour, man. Can you just stay extra hour?
Nah, motherfucker.
Nope.
Hour 8.
But it is
that
what it is.
Bitch went back an hour, you better get somebody in this motherfucker.
All right, so real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We're going to have Natasha Carter come up here. because I hear people say mental health, mental illness. You know, they say different things. I don't know what the politically correct thing is.
And he's not trying to go to Facebook jail.
No, I'm just saying I don't know what you're supposed to say, but it actually has been a big topic of lately throughout everything across all boards, from acting to sports to kids to everything. So it's one of them things where, you know, when you sit down and think about it, and you listen to it, and I've been listening to people talk about it, and it's not just about, we think about that, we think about crazy. Yeah. That's what we think about crazy. Like, back in the day when we see somebody that was a little off or something wrong with them, we just called them crazy.
Well, why y'all call me crazy then?
That's for a whole other show.
Why
If
y'all
the shoe fits,
well, anyway,
See?
nah, but what I'm saying is,
I'm gonna get you put in Facebook jail for that.
nah, what I'm saying is the thing about today's show is so you have an understanding about what it is, and what is the process, and just the whole just the whole realm of it. Yeah, exactly. So it's different when you hear it somewhere else, but you're gonna see it live right here today. So
hey, one of the things someone commented to me, actually messaged me about posting in our group. All right, real quick.
Oh,
now,
shit.
a lot of posts don't get put up. See, our group is basically we try to make it more conversation, debating. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of stuff people put up helps people. You never know who's going to need help by the post that you put up, by the comments. There was a young lady, I think it was a week ago. She did a testimony on in the group, and I think a lot of people commented on it, and it was
Sion.
It's something like that.
I remember her.
Yes. But stuff like that can help someone else.
I wish I knew that.
Watching.
Hey, if you're watching us right now and she knows who she is, call, text, get on our live, leave us a message or something, because we want to reach out to you.
Yeah, I forgot her name, but see, it's like that's why we bring people on the show. We've done mental health last year. We've done lawyers. We've done it, and it helps people out. Some people on this stage might have mental health problems, and
Why you call me?
they might need the information. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're here for. We got this platform to make this happen. So we want to thank everybody for y'all support. Y'all support us like crazy. When we blow up, we're gonna make sure y'all blow up with us.
I'm gonna tell my mama you keep calling me crazy.
So listen, we're gonna go to a quick break. We're gonna be back in a second. Like I said, we're gonna have Natasha come up here and have a conversation with us. So we'll see you in a second. Bye.
But your t-shirt on, I got nothing but your t-shirt on. Body wanna say nothing feels good if I'm not with you. Taking these drugs to the Jimmy Choo. Taking that off 'cause I feel
.8. For more information, go to IG at DMVKELV. That's DMVKELV. Or you can call them at 240-988-0883. That's 240-988-0883.
Hello. Welcome back.
So we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very special guest up here, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
So I'm Natasha Carter. Hi. So I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am a psychotherapist for athletes as well as anyone else who needs services. I have some organizations and services that I provide around the DMV area.
Oh, nice. How long you been doing?
So my clinical experience, like almost 13 years. So I have clinical experience from undergrad and grad school. So.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
So
so
DMV? Just DMV area? Or?
So I'm licensed in North Carolina, Maryland, and DC. So I can provide services to those three areas. I can also do telehealth for North Carolina.
okay, so question.
Yes.
If I walked in your office and I said, "What do you do?" What would you tell me?
I would say that I am here to support you through whatever mental, emotional, psychological issues that you're struggling with. Like, I'm here basically to provide support in whatever that looks like for you. So my approach is more client-centered. So I like to meet people where they're at and then let them kind of direct services, like direct how they want their therapy sessions to go.
Okay. So, you got a question?
So do you just specialize in athletes? Or is it...
So no. So I have 2 organizations and I have a private practice. So my organization, LACE, it stands for Learning Alternative Ways to Channel Euphoria, which is why I call it short for, or LACE for short. And basically that was developed and established to cater to young girls 11 to 22. So the transitional periods that they struggle with the most. Kind of educating them about mental health, letting them kind of normalizing the regular daily stressors that they go through that I think as adults we forget have a big impact sometimes on a 14 and 16-year-old. That kind of, you know, now with social media and TV shows kind of can be escalated. And I provide therapy as well. And then I have TEAM, which is teaching and empowering athletes mentally. And that one caters towards athletes. So basically I go to different teams that will be open to receiving education about mental health and how to cope with mental health or how to cope with mental illness, the difference between mental health and mental illness.
Yes, that was the next question.
And then some of the stressors that they can prepare for when trying to get into a professional organization. And then also provide therapy for anyone that wants more discreet services that don't want to go through their clinician in-house.
Okay, let's ask that question. What's the difference between the two?
Okay, so mental illness is a it's a disorder that is usually most of the time diagnosed, and it affects your psychological or emotional state of mind. So the main thing to remember about mental illness is it is a diagnosed illness. So
Okay.
it is not something that someone thinks they have. It is actually a diagnosed issue.
Okay.
Mental health is just like your overall well-being, your overall state of emotional and psychological well-being. So what I usually tell people is how to look at mental health. If you were to have pain in your knee or your leg, you would go to a specialist just to check it out.
Yes.
You're not going with the assumption that you're going to walk out with a torn ACL or needing surgery. But to make sure that you take care of whatever it is that you need to take care of, you're going to go see a specialist that can tell you, if something is wrong with your knee.
Okay.
So that is what I say to people who are a little bit skeptical or hesitant to go to a therapist, is it's just a specialist who basically you go to if you are in need of support, or if you think that you have something going on that maybe you just want to get additional support or additional guidance.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you're going to actually walk out with a diagnosis. There are a lot of people that come into services that literally just want like that one time, I just need to kind of release, I need some support, I need some guidance,
Yeah.
and then they don't come back. I mean, that happens.
They think they're fixed.
Right, and so you can go see a therapist and not walk out with a mental illness diagnosed. Like, you can just go in for a checkup, like how you would do mental.
So let me ask you this then, right? So when you say it's like mental, and y'all basing it on the answers that they give you to determine if they're mentally ill, because like, suppose they just answer because they don't want to feel like actually being bothered with somebody that they sent to see.
Right. So every therapist, every mental health person, whether it's a licensed therapist, a licensed clinical social worker, LPC, psychiatrist, psychologist, because there are different, and that's the other part of educating. I think people don't know all the different individuals who can provide support mentally. And so that's important for you to educate yourself about who you're going to see and what type of credentials they have and how they can support you in different ways. Because there are things I can't do that a psychiatrist can do, but they are everything how they want. They don't want to. Like I tried it, and that one experience, which is why I tell people, like, I understand what you're saying when you say I had one experience, I didn't like the person, I didn't feel like the person was relatable, and I just didn't go because I figured it didn't work.
Yeah.
I
understand that part of it.
Yeah, I understand that, which is why I try very hard to make my clients who come in feel very comfortable, and I tell them up front, like, I'm not the type of person that's money hungry. So by all means, if you're not feeling me after the first session, let me know that we don't vibe, and I will help you find someone else, because I don't want them to be discouraged.
Counsel me or something like that.
Okay.
I would want you to have at least been through what I've been through.
But not everybody's gonna do that. And not everyone's
nobody's
gonna disclose that.
You got to listen to where I'm going with this though, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So at the end of the day, right, if I'm coming to you for some type of guidance to get through my particular situation and what I'm feeling, I would at least like for you to have some type of experience or some type of knowledge firsthand, been through it to some certain particular degree. Because if you haven't been through, so think about it like this, okay, Brad? You a dude that come up in the hood, you know all the struggles of the hood, right? They send you to counseling with a person who's never been in the hood, that just come from the suburbs, and all they know is just what they just learned straight out of college. How can they help you? And that's where you're gonna be. So that's the way you think about it, walking through the door. Because after you get to having a certain particular conversation with said person, you like at the end of the day, damn, you don't even know what. I come from the hood.
Right.
You from up the suburbs. How you helping me?
So the thing about that is, like with what she said initially, she brings you in on that first meeting, and that person will talk to you, and they're gonna talk to you about what you've been through, what you've done, everything you went through. And the thing about it is, what the lifestyle I lived and the lifestyle that she lived, completely different. Completely different.
Completely not.
Okay, but one thing that is in common is feelings and emotions. That's in common across the board. We all have that in common. The action. No. The action for the reaction. No, listen. The action for the reaction. We all We all have that. We all have that, and that is universal.
Right.
Now, because I grew up.
It's not though.
No.
Your actions are not the
No,
same.
no, but
Your actions and reactions are not universal.
No, but no. This is
Right.
what.
But
No,
the
what I'm
actual
telling you.
emotion.
The emotion from the action and the reaction. I'm
It's
talking about the
not.
emotion.
So, listen, we all experience anger, we all experience sadness,
Yes.
but how we respond to it, how we cope with it is not universal. So I think that's what he's trying to say is that we all experience, they're all anger and sadness and
It's
happiness.
an emotion across the board.
Okay, I agree.
It's across the board.
Okay, I agree with it being as emotion across the board.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody don't handle it the same.
Correct.
Of course, nobody. Yeah, we all handle
Okay.
stuff differently. So,
Correct.
and there's a good chance that any therapist office you go sit in ain't been through the same thing you've been through.
Correct.
They ain't.
Yeah, exactly. So for you to find a therapist like that, you want to go back to the hood and go find some
They have done.
No.
There are those who.
No, there absolutely
And so at the end of the day, my preference would be to go speak to someone who's been through it instead of someone
That's
who
fine.
doesn't.
I get that.
Everybody has their preference.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Right, and that's in preference, and that's one of the reasons why I tell people you should really educate yourself about who you go to see, who you're asking for services. Look on their websites, look at their bios, ask questions when you set up interviews. For me, because I had someone tell me like, oh, I'm so sorry, I keep asking all these questions, oh, I keep emailing you. Why are you sorry? Like, you're about to pay me for a service to help you in your life. Like, this is not like going to the grocery store. Like, you should be able to ask whatever question.
Yes.
And you shouldn't, a therapist or a licensed mental health person in general should not feel frustrated that you're asking questions about the person that's going to provide services. Just like when you go, if you have a child and you provide, or you're going for childcare, you're going to want to know who is taking care of your child. So you should want to know who is going to be servicing you, who's going to be providing therapeutic services. You should ask questions, and no person should get irritated to the point where, it affects your interaction or communication. Like, you should educate yourself.
So well, kind of a generalized question. I know you say you specialize in athletes, but you deal with people outside of that, right? So the question that I have for you, which is probably a general question that a lot of people would love to hear the answer to, is how do you know when it's time to go get that help?
They seen you.
I mean, you can't be mandated.
No. There's some people mandated, but I'm talking
Right.
about for a regular person on the street,
Right.
because we have a lot of people, like you said, we had the comments in the group and stuff.
Right.
It's people who go through stuff,
Right.
and you have certain type of feelings, and us, like, well, I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but
Just say
us
men.
from men, especially black men, we handle it a different way. Like, I've never in a million years said, I'm gonna go see a therapist. That's
Well,
never
that's
crossed
also
my
because
mind.
we have a stigma in our community.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's a
saying.
negative stigma.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. We have that negative
Yeah.
stigma now. Being that I'm older now to
Right.
understand there's certain things I do need and certain
Right.
things. I still haven't got to that point. But how do you know when you need to reach out and seek some type of help for your mental wellness?
Yeah. How do you know that you have a mental illness?
Yeah, no. I know. I didn't say illness. I said for your mental wellness.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you know?
So that's a deep question because everybody's going to be different,
Of
right?
course.
But what I will say is the general answer to that is when you feel like you can no longer cope on your own, or you feel like you're coping or handling your regular stressors in unhealthy and negative ways, that is when I would say, you should probably think about it. But if you are not ready to receive, if you're not ready to be open and transparent, if you are not ready to do the work, like, if you have to receive it. You have to receive it. You have to be ready to do the work, because if you go in there thinking that you're ready, and then me as a therapist says, okay, these are the goals that you're going to work on when you're in session, and these are the objectives and all these things, and I explain it to you, and you're like, but I'm not really about to talk about past trauma, then you're not ready to do the work. And so for me, I would say, are you really ready for therapy? Like, so you have to be able to self-identify, like, am I going through something that I can't handle on my own? Am I going through something that I may need some support and guidance from someone who may be unbiased or somebody who may have the background? Because we go to family members all the time and friends, but they don't necessarily give us guidance. They give us advice, and it's not necessarily clinical, right? Like, it's based off of their opinion and based off of what they know about you.
But isn't y'all stuff still the same?
No.
Based off your opinion, or do y'all have a set guideline that you make that you can look at a person and say, okay, because you did X, Y, and Z, you got to go by these rules. Everything that you're giving somebody and telling them to do is still based off your opinions and your suggestion to them. It's not nothing in the book that you can hand somebody and say, okay, this is what you got to do.
Right. So that's why I said every therapist is different. There are some therapists that literally go by the book and like literally diagnose, do assessments, do everything by the book. That's just, for me, that's not me. So if I create a treatment plan for you on the goals that you're going to work on, I'm not creating it for you. I'm going to ask you in our assessment from day one, what is it that you want to take from therapy? What is it that you want to gain? What are some things that you want to work on and improve? Like, you're with me every step. When we create your goals, like, hey, before you sign this and say that this is what you want to work on for the next 6 months or however, like, do you want to change anything? Do you agree? Is this even realistic? Because don't give me something that you're not intentional about working towards.
I get your style now. Your style is more along the lines of coaching and trying to.
So what you're probably thinking is motivational interviewing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean,
therapy and coaching are different.
if I think about it in this therapy, right, and you tell me that it's something that I gotta want and it's something that I gotta do before, and to say that I'm gonna do it, I'm coming to you and looking for guidance to you, like to coach me to get me to a better mental state.
But I provide therapeutic interventions along the way.
Right. So what I'm referring to is like people that sent to therapy on purpose. And you analyze them, and then you say this person is mentally this, that, and the third. But by your analyzation, that's when you go by a book, and you say X, Y, and Z.
So they do have to fit a criteria.
Yeah, so that's when you fit a criteria.
Correct.
But at the same time, that's still based off of your opinion of that person, correct?
No. So that criteria is based off of what, number one, they present when they come into sessions. Number two, what they tell me, how transparent they are about what they're experiencing, and whether or not they already had a previous diagnosis. So all those things kind of play into, or get put into play when they come to me. So I ask, have you ever had any mental health services before? What for? Have you ever had a diagnosis? Were you ever on any psychotropic meds for it? Are you taking anything? What are some of the current stressors that you're dealing with right now? What are some past stressors?
Right.
And then, yes, so when you have a diagnosis, you do have to use a DSM-5. So you do have to basically go through the criteria, and they have to fit whatever 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 5 or whatever criteria before you can diagnose, because you have to justify, mostly to insurance companies, why you're getting that diagnosis and why they need to still continue paying for services to come see you.
Okay, gotcha.
So you have to do it.
Let me ask this. How do you know if you have mental illness? And the reason why I'm saying is because they label everything mental health illness. I mean, if you go out and you go out there around the bank and let's say you was mentally ill. You go out there and say that if you want to be somebody, then you're mentally ill. But I don't know if you can answer this, but how come, if someone answers in the group, how come transgenders are not labeled as that's a mental health illness? Because they're talking about, it's a, what do you say? It's a woman,
It was born that way.
A woman put down, man. So, you know, something like that.
Why
How
is
that's
that
not
mental illness?
a mental illness?
I mean, but some people might consider that. Like, I think it just depends on.
Yeah, it depends. That's not a generalized question. Like that's
a broad question.
That's a broad. And
I mean, it really
everything is
it's like also, but like it's also saying, how do you know that you broke your finger? You might literally just think that it's hurting. I mean, how?
Did
Like,
you really just compare it to?
but it's a very broad
Look at your finger and know it's broken.
But for somebody that's experiencing,
it's like this.
but for someone that's experiencing those symptoms, they may not have that same perception.
That's pain, dog. That's nothing.
But that doesn't mean that you broke it. You could have sprained it. You could have pulled it. You could have.
But at the same time, when your finger broke, it's kind of like dangling. You know, when you break stuff. So
what do you want me to say? Torn it. I mean, you get what I'm trying to.
That's what I had. Everything is mental mental health illness, though. Every time something happens to somebody,
But I think
That's Trump telling you that, man.
I think that when it
Trump
comes
telling you
to
that.
over labeling, I think that is done by individuals who are trying to justify a behavior or justify an action. Because in reality, we don't have enough diagnosis, to be honest. Like, in reality, especially in the black community, like, we don't have enough black licensed mental health people in the field. We don't have a lot of black individuals taking advantage of therapeutic services. We don't have a lot of black individuals following up to receive treatment after they see somebody. And we don't have enough black people individually to
Why do you think that is?
buy into it, to be honest.
Why do you think that is, though, nowadays? I mean, I got my opinion on why I do
Why do you think?
No, but no.
No, I'm asking her, though, why she think that it's not a
In
black
our community?
It's not like blind into the doctors. They're not buying into the mental illness that we're being told.
Because we don't trust people. We have trust issues.
Because all of the shit that we're being told
Correct.
came from
Correct.
Caucasian.
Correct.
But no, that's what she said.
I mean,
She said that earlier.
I mean, but like at the end of the day, that's
Right. So that's
how many
why.
black doctors are we going to change that? I mean, we need black doctors who will not follow the same practitioners that they. In order for them to become a
Right.
doctor, they got to go get their
I
doctor.
don't think it's the doctor. I think it's us.
I do think it's us as a
No, it
community.
is. That's what she
I think
said.
it's us as a community. I think that well, for older generations, because I've worked with all ages, right? So my youngest client right now is 4.
Dang.
Yes, my youngest client.
Damn.
Yes.
Mental health? I mean,
My youngest client is 4, and I've had all the way up to geriatric age, right? So I think
Come on, you got to break that down for
No,
the
that's
people.
old.
I mean, we need to
70,
My few would say, I don't know what that big word
So I
means.
think for like the older population that I get, what I hear is, when they were younger, they didn't go to, they didn't talk about mental health. Like, that was not something, you didn't talk about issues that the family or you were having outside of the household. A lot of older black individuals that I've seen have said, oh, well, when I was younger, my mom, my grandmother, aunt, or whatever told me just to pray about it and go to church, or we would talk about it. I think that's a lot about generational. Like, that's a generational factor to the stigma that's associated with mental health in the black community.
So I gotta ask you this then, okay? Raising a young black woman, correct?
Correct.
You believe in the doctoring portion of it. You don't believe in the religion side.
I do.
So praying on it didn't help, or you saying it was more so I needed to talk to somebody instead of you sitting there?
Correct. I'm saying that a lot of individuals who have said that to me, their perception is, well, why would I go to a professional, or why would I go to a doctor to talk about who doesn't know me? I can just pray about it and talk to God. Like God is going to help me through that.
Exactly.
But that's not always the case. Like, there are serious mental health illnesses that need more than prayer.
So God can help you with them.
I didn't say that, but there are additional.
So that's where that thin line comes in.
But why can't you
because
have
you're trading one right now.
But why can't you have therapy and prayer?
Yeah.
Why can't you have therapy and God?
Because at the end of the day, what you're saying though is that even though I'm praying to the most highest power out here on this planet, I still need to go talk to a human.
That's not what I said. I said sometimes you need additional support.
No, you're missing it.
You need additional support.
That's the same thing though, dog.
So, but some people that have diagnoses that need medication to help manage their mood and symptoms, sometimes praying is not going to help manage their moods. Like, sometimes it takes something.
Yeah. So,
that's the thin line.
No, I get what you're saying. But that's with anything. That's the same thing with anything. Is for you, if you want to learn how to be a bartender, and you only have her teach you how to be a bartender, but somebody else, hold on, but somebody else said, I can also help you how to be a bartender too. Why not take help? You take help from all the way to
You just crossed two different lines though, brother.
What lines is that?
God is spiritual. What you're talking about is in the physical. So it's not the same. You can't.
No, it is.
It is not.
It is the same because guess what?
At the end of the day, who talks to God when you pray?
Let me tell you. Hold on. Let me tell you something. I became a good person because of God and my mother. It wasn't God alone.
That sounds good.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't God alone. It was God and my mother.
Agree to disagree.
But we're gonna agree to disagree
We
because
gonna say
doing that.
we can do therapy
we can do
and
both.
God. We
So
can do
hold on.
therapy and
All
God.
right, we got somebody in the audience that want to talk to us. Hold up, let's see what they got to say over here.
But hold on. Can we hold the question for 1 second? Because what we're gonna do is after we have this little conversation right here, then we're just gonna go straight to questions. But I'm gonna ask the question, kind of the reason why you're here.
Okay.
What made you get into the mental field for athletes?
For athletes specifically.
And how does that work a little bit? Just
Oh, my bad.
Don't be you. I told you. Hey, can you tell you I was crazy?
I mean, but you like hurt your own self.
After the show, please talk to him.
yes,
He
please.
doesn't want it. He said he doesn't want
You
it.
bless it.
I don't need it.
So how I got into the mental health field has been my own personal struggles. Like
Yeah.
that has led me into wanting to kind of get engaged in helping other people, especially young girls, not have to wait as long as I did to kind of get support to go through it, right?
Okay.
Athletes was because, of course, because I used to play basketball, like I was around athletes all the time, right? All the way up to college, still now, right? And so what I was seeing was that they were going through, and they would talk to me about things that they were experiencing, like depression, depression coming or anxiety coming from finance issues, depression from being away from family, the competitive part, like, you know, that insecurity that comes, or anxiety that comes with waiting to see if you're going to get picked or you're going to, you know, get traded, and also like the depression that athletes sometimes face when they're transitioning. So sometimes they go in and they're like, yep, I'm about to play, I'm about to be like, you know, I'm about to be big.
Yeah.
Something happens, they get cut, and it's like, oh, I didn't save. Oh, I was spending money. Oh, I didn't think this through. Oh, I was helping put everybody else on, so I wasn't making sure that I was, you know, I was being reckless. Like, I don't have anything. And so that can lead to depression for some athletes. Also, like, retiring. You just spent, to them, what they consider the best years of their life
Yes.
playing sports.
Yes.
What do you do next?
Yes.
Some athletes, now you go home, you're a full-time dad, you don't know what that's like because your wife or girlfriend has been raising your kids, so you're kind of like, oh, this is what I have to help with. And it's not that they, you know, intentionally, you know, didn't experience it or didn't want to, but they were traveling, they were providing, they were making sure that, you know, that they put others first.
She wasn't shooting in the gym.
I mean, that might be how they feel. I mean, that might be how they feel. And so now it's kind of like, what do I do next? Like, I don't know anything else I'm good at.
Gotcha.
And so I found that when I was interviewing them, number one, just to see, hey, do you think mental health is important in sports? Every athlete that I interviewed, all the way from middle school all the way up to pro in all sports, literally said yes. Well, first of all, some of them really were like, oh, like bipolar, like they started naming like these severe diagnoses, and I'm like, so that's okay. Let's educate about the difference between mental health and mental illness. You know, like let's do that first, and then it was like, yeah, like it's important. Yeah, this is what we go through. I think that people forget that we're humans. They think that we're celebrities or whatever. We can't mess up. Like, you know, that we can't do anything the same as you because we're in the spotlight, or that, you know, we don't have feelings. So it was that, and then also they couldn't tell me. A lot of them couldn't tell me who to turn to on their team if they had mental health issues. Like they couldn't tell me unless, you know, that person has been seen by them, or unless that person is regularly involved in their team doing like presentations or workshops or services. They really couldn't tell me like who was their clinician, and what they were, like a psychiatrist, a psychologist. And so for me, I was just kind of like, maybe this is important to like kind of educate them about mental health and the stressors and how to cope with them, so that they can better prepare, so that when they do experience these things as a professional player, or, you know, transitioning, they'll be more competitive, or more, well, number one, more competitive while you're playing, because if you took care of your mental health and you took care of your issues and your teammate didn't, and they're over there cursing out the ref, chances are, if you play the same position, he's gonna pull you out and pull him out and put you in, because you know how to handle and manage your emotions on the court better than the person next to you, because you were making sure that you took care of your mental health.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, and so we're gonna go to the question. The big thing about that too is, which is awesome, real quick, is I think Kevin Love is spearheading.
Oh yes, but
the initiative.
But what's crazy is if more players love Kevin Love, love, but if more players at a higher status, a higher level.
Oh Lord.
I'm just saying.
She's right. No,
I'm
she's
just saying it would
right.
help break the stigma when it
They
comes.
might not feel it though.
Nah, but
But they do it when they're going through something. When they're going through something and they
Like,
need an out.
at the end of the day, when they need an out, they don't need the same out that the person that ain't on their statue need. I don't need that out.
They do
LeBron
if
don't need the same
they
out
do if it
that
starts
Kevin
affecting
Love
the brand. They do if it starts affecting the
LeBron
brand.
went and bought a hairpiece. He need to talk to somebody. So
So
look, let's go.
But that's a different out though. So his out was telling him go get a hairpiece. Kevin Love, people tell him shake it off.
Go ahead, Vegas. Who we got? Who we got?
Oh, I can't see.
Well, I just had some comments.
I can't see you.
Just speak into the microphone. Put it up to your mouth. There you go.
Good on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, talk into it.
All right. So I didn't really have a question. I just been listening, and I agree with a lot of things that you've been saying. And me personally, I've done counseling. And when I was growing up, it was a lot in my household. My mom would always say, "What happens in this house stays in this house."
Exactly.
So that was like number one. So I understand that there is a stigma. But also, I know some of the stuff that Ty was saying, I was like, just because somebody hasn't been where you've been doesn't mean they can't get you where you're going.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
that's what a lot of people don't understand.
That's what we're gonna be
You
on
don't have to be
conflict.
where you get where you go. And that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Because somebody else, you don't. I don't know how to say it, but I'm gonna just say you don't have to, like, if I'm trying to get somewhere and I know what my goal is, like she said, you got to set goals for yourself, where you're trying to get to, what your definition of mental wellness is for you, because everybody's definition is different. Everybody doesn't want to get to the same place, and it does take work. So once you know where you're trying to go and you are transparent, it just seems like it's a lot easier for that person to help you get there. And that's pretty much what her job is to do. She's not there to do the work for you.
Come on now.
She let me do
I don't have a magic wand. I don't have a magic wand. Come on
I
now.
got a question for you then.
And it's called cultural competency. Any
Y'all people got questions too. Anybody else got questions?
But what you're talking about is a good example of cultural competency. So any therapist who's really who has good cultural competency.
She's black. I mean, she's a black.
No, I'm saying but that means that basically we don't have to experience the same thing that the person in front of us does to be able to relate, to be empathetic, to have compassion, or to even know.
There's a difference between empathetic and relating.
But what I've learned,
Empathy and relating. Empathy and relating.
But not
are
everybody
the same.
goes to a therapist to relate.
Empathy means that you sympathize with what I'm going through.
Right,
That doesn't mean
correct.
you
But not
relate to
everybody
it.
chooses a therapist to relate to.
That's
Sometimes
That's like somebody telling me I can relate to your mother passing away and her mother ain't never passed away.
to be honest with you,
Correct.
a lot of their work is really just listening to you. And really, you're doing the work yourself. They're just there to guide you in the direction that you need to go in, or when you get stuck. Because for the most part, I could be in that session and I'll be telling her everything that's going on. She's like, and then she'll ask me why, and you be thinking at first, you might be like, are you really even helping me? Or I could just be venting to one of my friends. You know what I'm saying? But if you do the actual work, and you're open to the information that they're giving you or the point of view that they're giving you, because when you're in the midst of something or you're going through something, you don't see all the angles from the outside. So
Yes.
once you open your mind to those things, it really does start to help when you start to do the work. And it really, I think a lot more people should take advantage of it. And I think that a lot of people wait too long.
Yep.
And a lot of they wait too long.
Yes.
And people say all the time, like I used to wait till you get to the point where you're like, oh, you want to shut the world out.
Yep.
You have a breakdown, or somebody's telling you, look, what's wrong with you?
It's like when you have no F's to give no more. Like
now,
that's
I'll be like, you know what? I need to call my therapist.
That's
Thank you. Who else we got?
Oh, for real? No,
You just want to be combative.
So, what does the work look like when it comes to what you do? You say you work with athletes.
Mm-hmm.
What does that work look like?
So I can go into teams and do workshops, basically just educating about mental health, what it looks like, or what it can look like as far as symptoms or stressors, like teaching them creative. So for me, I'm very hands-on. So I'm very sensory related. So a lot of my interventions, whether it's with kids or adults, are sensory. So I do a lot of hands-on interventions, like creative, expressive. I use a lot of art, do a lot of play, even with adults, because I feel like even with athletes, especially male athletes, they don't want to necessarily open up. So I have to find ways to kind of get them uncomfortable, so they're focusing on what they're doing, like, oh, why does she have us painting flower pots? Like, I'm not in preschool and this is girly, but they're focusing so much on that when I'm just throwing out questions that I need to kind of get a feel of what they're going through, they're not paying attention to what they're saying, and it becomes, they're so uncomfortable with what it is that we're doing that they become a little bit more transparent because they're not focused on that. And then as I'm like, giving them reassurance or validating their feelings, then it becomes, oh, okay, so she's listening. Well, what do then some of them become more engaged. I work with coaches to kind of teach them how to better support their players emotionally, how to help them build a stronger foundation for success emotionally. How to become a more competitive player. So for athletes, especially young boys, I have to find ways, the way I engage them is to find ways to meet them where they're at, right? So black males, especially young boys, they're like, well, for me, I already have a hard time sometimes because they don't realize my age. So I have to kind of come at them a different way. And so kind of just getting them to take mental health as a positive, as opposed to the negative association that the stigma's placed on it. Like, oh, as an athlete, how is that going to make you more competitive? And parents too, parents that are really invested in their kids, they don't care. They don't care. They're like, is this going to make him get seen more? Is this going to make him get scouted? How so? So I have to find ways to help them understand this is going to make you more competitive emotionally, physically, and athletically. How? Let me teach you. How? Let me show you. Oh, you don't have any coping skills except smoking weed or drinking? Oh, okay. Have you tried this? Oh, this is not something you're used to. Journaling? Let me show you how to make it fun. Let me show you how to make it sporty. For me, a lot of interventions I tweak. So I may see something on Pinterest or whatever and then tweak it so that it has a therapeutic lining, but I never do something that I don't tell them or explain to them why I'm doing it. Why is this therapeutic? Why are you painting this flower pot? Oh, it represents growth. Let's talk about the ways that you want to grow in while you're planting this flower. Oh, this is accountability because now you have to take care of it. So I don't ever just throw something at them like we're doing arts and crafts. No, there's a reason for it.
You can't tell all your secrets now.
Okay. Somebody's gonna be like, wait, the flower pot? Okay, let me. Yeah, you're right.
Go ahead, tell all your secrets.
Who we got next over there, fam?
Peace.
Peace.
So I wanted to bring up a point that you guys were talking about. There was a bit of a disagreement about the difference between physical experiences and spiritual experiences, explaining that in regards to therapy. I did want to make a point that as a first-generation African that lives here, but my parents were born in Africa, mental health is definitely not something that is acknowledged in our household. It's only now my mom is a mental health professional, so we're working through that. But so as somebody that is spiritual, who can acknowledge that being put here for a purpose is a thing. So when you pray or you meditate for a solution, you're asking the Most High, as you put it, to give you a solution. Everybody here has their purpose. So there are people that have aligning passions that will then present you with those exact solutions to your problems, just to kind of shed more clarity on maybe an answer to that, because I don't think it really got answered in the moment.
That's good.
Thank you.
That was dope. Thank you.
For that.
We got a brother in there. Let's see what his brother got to say. This is the last one right here.
Yeah, how you doing? First, I want to say I do appreciate your compassion for people with that situation,
Thank you.
However,
Oh.
I was concerned that there are some people who believe that, mental health issues is just another form of, natural selection. For example, survival of the fit. I break my arm and I'm on a football field. I gotta rehabilitate myself and get back out there and show and prove. But the other guy might not have that problem, and if I can outdo him or outplay him, I'm still gonna be selected to be better. Or like, take animals for example, and this is always what I found so dope about animals. They're not gonna do nothing that's gonna like injure their way of getting food, because they can't just go to the hospital. So with that being said, when you look at somebody who's like, you know, going through something that's feeling like he's crazy or he's mental, you know, that's like him breaking his leg and he can't cope. He can't do what he gotta do. That's, to me, that's just like, you gotta deal with that person. You know, there's really no help. You gotta help yourself. You feel what I'm saying?
But not everybody can do. Not everybody is strong or has the resources or the emotional stability to be able to do that.
But that's the point, though.
You know what I'm saying? If birds, let's say not birds, but let's say lions didn't eat other animals, there'd be an overflow of those animals. You know what I'm saying?
So are you comparing? Are you comparing?
Humans?
The circle of life.
Correct. Are you comparing the circle of life to mental illness?
Yes. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Because
so I think that no shade, right? But I think that this is a perfect example of the stigma that's on mental health, especially in the Black community, because I feel like and I'm glad that you said this, right? Because this just for me makes it so much more like, oh, I wish I could touch everybody and like tell them why I'm so passionate about you educating yourself about mental health and you practicing self-care and you practicing, you know, your overall well-being, because I think that it could be 7 of us in this room that are like, yup, we understand, yup, but you don't. And so there's still that stigma that's associated with it that we as a 7 can't change. And I think that,
I dig what you're saying, and I understand. What I'm saying is like, so people talk about PTSD, right?
Yeah.
That's very real.
And how they get it.
And I've been in the service. I was in there for a minute. Then people talk about PTSD for being in penitentiary. I've been in that situation. I was there for a minute. There's to me, PTSD comes from something deeper. You could be from a neighborhood, see a friend that you grew up with 10 years, he get killed. PTSD, but they don't talk about that. You know, this is somebody you used to sleep with, you know what I'm saying, spend high sleepovers with, peanut butter jelly sandwiches, y'all broke together, he get hit by a car, get shot by a bullet, get AIDS, all that, but they don't consider this.
I gotta ask this question.
But how will you know that it's
Hold up.
Well, I'm trying to say this. So, sorry, I know everyone keeps cutting you off. So, I know, I'm sorry. But no, this 3 seconds. But if you go to, and so if someone goes to the service and they come out and then, you know, they get diagnosed with PTSD, how are we supposed to know, or how are you supposed to know that there are underlying issues before you went into the service if you don't go and find someone to communicate that with?
And no, absolutely right. But my whole thing is like, there are people that I've seen going through this. They might not say nothing, and they might overcome that issue.
Right.
Because like,
so that's called resiliency, and not everybody has it.
It's rehabilitation of self, you know.
All right, so hold up.
So real quick,
we take a quick commercial
Y'all
break.
need a
What
part
I
two
love.
on this.
We're not going away.
but the conversation
Much
will
needed.
continue. The
Much
conversation will
needed and much
It's gonna be right there,
appreciated.
Tina.
I appreciate all of you guys like asking questions and giving feedback.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate.
But like I wanted to just say that, you know, mental illness is only a Black disease.
Okay, next.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. The conversation will continue. We'll be back in a second. DJ,
Are you looking for a house? Are you trying to sell your house? What are some benefits to ownership? Tax credits. Your rent will increase, but mortgages don't. Build equity. Have something to call your own. If you're looking for it, call Yanira Rodriguez at Long & Foster, 202-547-9200. That's 202-547-9200. Call her today. Have you been in an accident? Unfortunate DUI? Facing immigration? Call New Age Empire for a free consultation today. 571-317-5763. That's 571-317-5763. They got your back.
obstacles or those behaviors.
We back live.
Yes. My mic ain't even moving.
Turn your mic on.
Yes. Oh, that was lovely. We want to thank Natasha for coming through. Natasha, would you please tell everyone how can they find you? And most people, they may need these services. They may not think they need these services, but a lot of info you gave us was great.
Yes. So,
Sometimes you do.
I didn't know if he was pointing to you. Okay, so I have 2 Instagrams. My Instagram is Game Changing Therapist, and then I have my business Instagram, which is Team Therapy. And also you can connect with me if you have any questions. I'll just give you one of my emails. You can do info@lace, LACELLC.com. And that'll come directly to me. If you have any questions, concerns, or if you need support being linked to some services. And then I just want to give quickly some resources. I know like we're in a world of social media, so there are a few Instagram registries that you can go to and click on their website. Their websites will pretty much be a platform to help you find a therapist in your area. Most of them generally run the same way, so you would put in the area, whether it's the city or the zip code that you are looking for, and then they'll usually pop up like a list of therapists that are in your areas with their credentials, like their websites, so you can kind of choose one from there or do some research. So those quickly are that I personally recommend, and you don't have to be black to utilize them. That I get that question a lot.
Oh God.
No, I do get that question a lot because a lot of them have black in the name. Those are just platforms that I support. But if you go to Instagram, there's Therapy for Black Girls. There's Therapy in Color, like IN color.
Therapy in color.
Correct. Black female therapists.
They do sound like all black.
Therapy for Black men.
Damn.
Black Therapist Registry.
So the white man.
And then also a multicultural one is Psychology Today. So you can go on there. So all the platforms usually work the same way. You can search for a therapist in your area. You can look at their credentials, their profiles, and then you can reach out to them directly.
Now I see why the KKK is coming back strong.
They ain't coming this way. They ain't coming this way. Well, yeah, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I hope this information was useful. If you know someone that's going through this, please, the stuff is here for them.
It's here.
And it's okay to not be okay. I know that's a cliche that everyone says, but like seriously, it is okay to not be okay. You are not the only.
It's okay to be.
It is okay to not be okay. Yes. People go through similar things, so you are not alone. You are amazing. You matter. I love you if nobody else tells you.
Everybody believe that shit.
Yes, literally.
See that be bullshit.
No, like seriously,
y'all really tell people that the first visit. I don't tell
people that like I love you like that. But I'm telling individuals out there because you never know. You may be a platform that somebody is looking at right now that's going through something. You may be, no, seriously, this podcast might save somebody's life.
I'm not saying that we can't save nobody. I don't want nobody telling me I love you. And
I don't tell my clients in sessions I love them, but I'm telling everyone out there. I don't know what camera I need to look at. I don't know where.
Look at that one right there.
Everyone out there.
That one right
if nobody tells you at all today, please know that you have someone out here that loves you.
She love y'all.
I do. I want you here. You matter. I want you here. You matter, and it's okay to not be okay. Please reach out for support, whether it's to me or somebody else. I can help link you to someone in your area. Please make sure that you get the support that you need.
That's right. Yeah. And we will see y'all next week.
Yeah. We about to watch this football game, man.
Yeah.